Supreme Magus, Chapter 93. There and Back Again. Lid spent his last 3 days studying alchemy and forge mastering. Both the crafting disciplines were very hard to convert into true magic. Alchemy was a weak subject for him. He barely managed to understand the basics, leaving most of the work to Solus. While he studied his clothes, amulet, and magic storing rings, hoping to understand how to replicate and enhance their pseudo course with true forge mastering. Before leaving, Lid managed to pay a social visit to Protector, Reaper, and Lifebringer. He wanted to be updated about the situation in the Tran Woods, but more importantly, he was fishing for an alchemic ingredients. During spring, animals would change their coats and deer would shed their antlers. What for him was a treasure, for them was garbage, so they had no reason to deny his request. By simply grooming them for a few minutes, he had enough to stuff several pillows. After returning to the academy, life once again resumed its routine with only a couple of changes. Lid obtained from Floria and Freya training in swords arts, and in exchange, Floria would take part in his silent magic private lessons. Adjusting their schedule proved to be a bit hard, but thanks to Soluspedia, Lid didn't need to study much. Worst case scenario, he would not sleep and invigorate himself to cram through the night and leave the afternoons free. That, coupled with Floria attending to only one specialization course, allowed him to practice often. Months passed, and so the end of the first trimester came. Many students were afraid of the finals and started to compile a list of all the possible trials that could be required for them to perform. Lid couldn't care less. If it wasn't a written exam, with Soluspedia it would be a walk in the park. If the test was on practical nature, he was quite confident to be able to screw it up just enough to be in the top 10, but avoiding the top spots. The day of the finals, they were all assembled in the compulsory courses class, the only one that could accommodate all the fourth-year students waiting for Professor Trask to arrive. Yet, the one that entered the room was Headmaster Linjos. "Good morning, my precious students. This time I bring you only good news. There will be no finals because you have already taken all of them." Most of those present went into panic, thinking that the mock exam had actually been a real one. All those that reached this conclusion cursed the headmaster inwardly for the unfairness of crushing their grades after only a month of preparation. This is one of the changes that I have made to White Griffin's system that no one was aware of. You have been judged daily for 3 months based on your preparation and the effort you put into the lessons. I want you to know that rather than failure or success, special importance had been attached to your progress, to how you learned about your weak points and worked on fixing them. After such prolonged and careful evaluation, any further test would be useless, especially written exams. They would only serve to see who is better at cheating, like often happened in the previous years. The only way to get good grades with my system is through hard work and perseverance, not by goofing off a whole term and hoping for a mad rush to be enough. His tone became harsh during the last sentence, looking straight to some students that cowered behind their desk. Also, there will be no ranking, not until the end of the year. It's another toxic relic of the past that only managed to sour relationships and turned friends into enemies. I will now give you a report card but it's for your eyes only. In front of each student appeared a blank piece of paper. To read its content, just imprint it with your mana. To who have passed all their courses, you have my congratulations. For those who have failed one or more classes, you'll have to retake them entirely in the second trimester. If you have any problems with your timetable, I suggest you drop a specialization if you are taking more than one. It's better to achieve less than failing entirely. Scared murmuring filled the air. To those that find such judgment unfair, feel free to bring the matter up to the professors or to me, if you prefer. I will give you impromptu makeup test. In case you succeed, the votes will be changed accordingly. There will be no punishment in case of failure. Dismissed. Take the rest of the day to plan your future properly. You have only until the end of today to ask for a second evaluation. Linjos had yet to reach the door that everyone was picking his own report card, infusing it with magic. Lit's one was as following. Theory of Combat A. Principle of Advanced Magic A. Forge Mastering A. Healing S. School points gained from daily evaluation 3,365. What did I do wrong to get that yes? Do you mean, aside from sharing your spell, proposing brilliant ideas on daily basis and removing the clacker's venom from your body and weaponize it in front of the whole staff? Solus sneered. Damn it, Linjos keeps screwing up my plans. I can't ruin my average score during the finals if there are no finals. That man is diabolical. What is done is done. Solus' mind trudged. Let's see how the others fared. Looking around the class, watching the students' faces, was enough to get an idea of their grades. Those who cried or cursed out loudly had clearly failed at one or more classes. They didn't have to go far. His 4 friends had taken the habit to sit next to him as soon as they have returned from the 4 days break. What's with the sore face? Uriel asked, looking worried. Did something go wrong? Let's get out of here. Lit replied with a whisper. To not betray Linjos' expectation, it's better to talk somewhere private. He pointed with his thumb to the heartbroken students. Everyone nodded. Then they got up and exited the room unnoticed. Uriel's place was the closest one, so they headed there. After closing the door behind them, Lit activated his harsh spell. He was almost certain that all the rooms were soundproof, considering the philandering style they were built for. But he wasn't the type to take chances. Well, how did it go? Floria prompted him. Mine is Theory of Combat B+, Principle of Advanced Magic B, Mage Knight A+, School points gained from daily evaluation 2,254 points. Everyone gave her a short round of applause. Thanks, but I bet I have less points than you lot, since I got only a specialization. Yeah, we almost the same. Quilla stood straight as an arrow. I got Theory of Combat B-, Principles of Advanced Magic B+, Healing A++, School points gained from daily evaluation 2,382. Sadly, I still suck at the combat part of magic. Another short round of applause with a side of whistles. Sigh. Seems I'm not in the running for the top spot as a healer anymore, Uriel said with an apologetic voice. Theory of Combat Magic B. Principles of Advanced Magic B. Warden A. Healing A. School points gained from daily evaluation 2,530 points. At least I can console myself with the extra points. He seemed really dejected. Taking out the specialization, the Archmage heir had scored 2 pluses less than a starving commoner. Don't beat yourself up, man, Liz said, patting Uriel on his back. Quilla and Floria performed outstandingly, but you are no worse in any way. Managing to score 2 A's in both your specialization of choice is no easy feat. Uriel humbly accepted the compliment, and so did the girls. Now, my only hope is I didn't just shoot me in the foot unknowingly, insulting Freya, Lee thought, trying to play both sides on the fence. Luckily, she didn't seem upset. Yeah, you have done good. Mine is Theory of Combat Magic B, Principles of Advanced Magic B, Mage Knight B+, Healing A, School points gained from daily evaluation 2,420 points. That's an excellent result for someone who's the first in her family to become a magician. With no legacy or training to speak of except a second-rate mentor. Lit said to her to lift her spirit while winking at Quilla. It meant I know that you and I got a worse start than her, but please follow my lead. But instead of winking back, she blushed and looked away, leaving Lit in a daze. You have yet to answer my question, though, Uriel said with an inquisitive look. Lit sighed, pondering if to tell them the truth or tone down his votes. After all, I am their combat magic teacher and the faster learner in advanced magic. I doubt they'll be surprised. And they weren't. There was no awkward pause before they started clapping and complimenting him. Uriel even took out the Loria red from his dimension amulet. I hereby crown you king of the hill. That was to be expected, Freya said. Without you, I doubt I would have got a B in combat magic. Maybe a C, if not fail it entirely. I would have failed for sure. Quilla wasn't dejected at all while saying it. On the contrary, she was proud of her achievement. I never fought in my life, and never did much with magic besides healing. I would have surely achieved a solid C, maybe C+, but that's it, Floria shrugged. I learned a lot in these 2 months. Who knew that first magic was so useful? I'm the same as Quilla, but for different reasons, Uriel said. I was so eager to please my father that I only focus on Tier 3 magic. I always considered first magic a tool for servants. I knew nothing about it. If what you all said is true, then you should go and report it to Trask, Lich said, returning the wreath to its owner. Seeing their confused expressions at his words, he proceeded to explain. You heard Linjos. He is trying to change the system. New things are bound to have flaws and need a proper feedback to be fixed. If you share with him your doubts and struggling with the course, you'll help the system and, as a result, all other students. He won't be angry at you for being honest. More likely, you'll gain extra points. How do we know this is not a ruse for you to get even more merits at our expense? Doubt had reduced Quilla's eyes to slits. She didn't want to believe it making her look bad for his own profit, but she had learned to look out for herself. Easy. Don't mention my name. He shrugged. One of you can take credit for the lessons. For all I care. I'm not proposing this for points, but because I care for you and the academy. Without Linjos, my life here would be much harder, and I think the same stands for most of us. Another thing, try to remember what he said about accepting your limits and working to fixing them. I really think it would do you some good." Lid left the room, letting them decide without him interfering. After discussing it for a while, his words actually made a lot of sense. "I really can't make heads or tail about Lid," Uriel confessed. "Sometimes he acts normal, but when it comes down to magic and responsibilities, it seems I am talking to my father instead of a friend, always worrying about my future, me eating properly and learning my lessons." "Agreed," Freya said. "At some point, I started doubting he was only 12, so I had a background check made on him. He is really 12 and is supposed to be the youngest child of his family. Then, why do I get the impression he is—" She struggled, finding the right word. "Raising us?" Later, they decide to follow Lid's advice and report everything to Trask. He asked them a few questions about what they had found particularly hard and challenging, and how they had overcome their respective bottlenecks. "Seems a single professor is really not enough," Trask sighed. "Combat magic has the highest rate of failure among all courses. We need to fix this ASAP." "Thank you for your sincerity, guys," he said, snapping his fingers. "I just raised your grade in my class by 1 notch. I'm really proud of your growth." Meanwhile, Lid was in his room, taking a nap to catch up on his sleep. A sudden knocking woke him up, prompting many curses. He was having one of his rare good dreams. Seeing his frown, the academy's clerk apologized for the inconvenience and delivered him the new books. The first one title was "Get Out of My Face," a comprehensive guide of all you need to know about dimensional magic. The author name was Kava's Rod.